It has been way too long since you and I have spoken. In fact, one of the things I do remember several years ago when I had my Rogers Television show on the mic with Rudy Blair, you were one of the first guests. You were definitely on the first season, and I do believe you were either on my first or the second show that you were on. And it has been such a great journey for me to watch all the things that you've done over the years. You and I follow each other on social media, and just seeing how you've been with friends and family and music and your career and other careers and things like that. And in fact, just recently, if I remember correctly, honoring your grandfather. And
Yes.
so many great things. So right off the top, I have to ask you, how have you been doing? Because what I've been seeing, everything looks like it's just been great during some tough times.
Thank you. Yeah, I think the last time we would have spoke might have been 7 or 8 years ago now.
Yeah.
So it's so nice to see you. Um, Everything is good. I Since we last spoke, I started my undergraduate degree in music therapy, and then I worked as a music therapist in long-term care, and now I'm doing a PhD at the University of Waterloo, and my research is in songwriting with people living with dementia to challenge stigma. So that's what I'm doing now, and I have two nieces who are very cute.
Oh, congratulations. You know what? I was
Thank
wondering
you.
about the babies because I saw you with pictures and
They're
kids
not
and
mine.
no, but I
Everyone
was going to
thinks
bring anything up. I was going to, we'll leave it.
no, no, no. They're not. Everyone thinks they're mine. They're not mine. I wish they were.
Well, they're beautiful kids, so of course they're going to
They
think they're
are.
yours. So,
Thank you.
well, there we go. Now, there's a reason. What you just mentioned about everything you've been learning. This is one of the big reasons why that we are doing this discussion. But I would love for you to please introduce this young gentleman who is with us here today. Can you introduce him and why he is here?
Totally. This, everybody, is my friend Wally Cox. He's a dementia advocate. He's an artist. He's a singer. He's an incredibly nice human. And he is here with us today because we're going to be talking about a song that we collaborated on with a larger coalition of about 600 members about living with dementia and how to challenge stigma. And Wally is one of the main singers on it. And
Wally,
yeah.
Wally, first, it's great to get a chance to meet you. By the way, I love the name Wally. It's such a friendly name, and it's the kind of name that I kind of grew up with people that I knew, and anybody who I knew was a Wally was a great person. So I know you have to be a great person.
I
Um,
100% agree.
Wally,
Hey,
can you give me a little bit of your background, please, professionally, and also uh, at some point, how did you meet this great young lady, please?
well, okay. I don't have a professional background, so that's easy. Okay. I mean, I'm happily married. I've been married since the day I married my wife the day after she graduated from high school against
Ah,
everyone's wishes. We celebrate 50 years here in a couple of months. And I lived in the same house for 44 years. I had the same
unreal.
job for 42 years. Just the other day, somebody asked me how I did that. I said, lack of ambition. But my wife didn't think it was nearly as funny as I did, but I thought it was pretty cute. Um, that's it. I worked in an insurance business and I'm just a regular guy.
Nah, not a regular guy, but music is also a big love. Where did that come from?
Church. I grew up in church singing, and then I was in church choir, and I grew up in a church that did a lot of gospel music, and that was a big influence. And my mother also loves music and loves to sing, and so she's been singing to me since I was conceived, and so I listened to it in my mother's womb. I've listened. She's still alive. I could still hear her sing today when I want to. And we have a family of everybody that loves and appreciates the joy of music. And that's my first communication. Was having my mother sing to me.
How did you meet this wonderful young lady?
Well, I'm part of a group called Reimagining Dementia, and that's where we met. And Reimagining Dementia is trying to reframe how dementia is viewed by not only the person who's diagnosed, but by their providers and family, and even the people who have to give you the news, the healthcare people. How do we reframe this conversation? Because there's a lot of kind of anger and horror and pain and suffering and weeping that goes on when you're first diagnosed. And some people never exit that stage. They spend the whole rest of whatever life they have left focusing on the things they can't do and can't have. And I want to reframe it so that we focus on the things that we can do and that we do have. And there's a lot. And it's hard to do. I know when I was first diagnosed, I drew a picture of it for a talk I gave for Alzheimer's Association because I like to draw, and it was a merry-go-round, one of those ones you push in a park. You know, you put your sister on, try to spin it fast enough, see if you can get her to get sick or get off and be dizzy and fall on the ground. Very hilarious. But you know, my vision was I'm on that thing spinning around, looking at the center of the merry-go-round, staring at despair and destruction and my diagnosis, all these D's, you know. And behind me was my wife and my children and my friends screaming at me, turn around, we're still here. But it's hard to do. And you need to see people who've done it successfully, which I was blessed to be able to see, in order to really see that you can turn around on this merry-go-round and look outward at the things that you still can do, the awe and joy of life that God provides. So,
Absolutely. Absolutely. Sorry, continue.
So I turned around, started looking around, and I got contacted. I was referred to Mary Friedley, who's very much a big part of this, and she got a hold of me about doing some. They were going to do an impromptu thing down in San Francisco, and I've never, you know, done anything like that. You know, they're going to do this play or whatever. If you want to do it, and I go, well, sure, why not? Because San Francisco, it's always fun to go down and do. And they were going to fly back east and have me in this thing, and COVID hit. Well, it's kind of the end of that. And so a few months later, she called me up and said, we're going to do this group, Reimagining Dementia. We'd like you to be part of the beginning of this, also known as the joy of dementia, which they kind of put in quotes because they don't want anybody to take them too seriously, but I think they should. And we'll talk about that later if you want. But the fact is that, you know, it needs to be reframed, and there's still a lot of life left for not only the person who's diagnosed, but their family if they stop and think about all the things they can still do. So that's kind of what we're doing. And in doing that, we're using music and art, and I frame it like this. You know, there's your friends who walk by the house or neighbors who say, hey, how you doing? They go, yeah, we're gonna have lunch sometime. That's kind of your front porch friends, you know. Then there's your buddies that come over maybe because they're work friends, and you watch the football game, wherever you like to do, and have a little bit of nosh, and then out the door they go. And then that's your living room friends. And then there's your kitchen friends. That's your sister and your mother and your best friend or your papa or whoever, or your children. And these are the people that you share your heart with. And these are the people that really help direct your life and who you help direct. And that's what we want to do, is have kitchen experiences with people, to bring them in, to share our hearts, to have fun, to not be ashamed or dismayed or perturbed or talk about what we can't do, but talk about what we can do. And that's what Reimagining Dementia is really all about. It's reframing this whole conversation from the minute the doctor who feels terrible that he has to tell you this news, so he tries to get it over with and get you out the door as fast as he can, to your loved one who's sitting next to you thinking, oh my God, you know, what am I going to do? And then they feel guilty because they're thinking about, what am I going to do, when you're the one who's been diagnosed. And then you, the one who's diagnosed, is sitting there thinking, holy crap, you know, I got to go home, dig a hole, and pull a rock over my head because I've got this thing that I can't tell anybody about because it's so shameful.
And sorry if I can jump in, because I've had family that has dealt with this. So for folks who haven't, or just being, if I can use the term, introduced to this, how did you deal with it when you were first told? I mean, literally hearing those words. What was your initial reaction to who you are right now as we speak? The transformation.
5 seconds after I heard the news, my whole perspective of who I was as an individual, my value and my future changed immediately. And, the doctor was pretty abrupt, in his words, and said, you need to go home. You probably have about 4 years left to live. And, Pat, you're lucky that he's a happy guy, because you're going to need happiness around you, because this is going to be awful. And best of luck. So out the door we went, and, it's hard to explain, but it's a bit daunting to hear that, because you don't really dwell on your mortality when you're young and vital, and you're growing up. And I was only like 61 or 62 when this happened, and I had this really raging career, and I was just doing great, but I was having problems all this sudden at work, which is what brought this conversation on. And you walk out the door, and your whole perspective is skewed. And I started building a wall immediately between me and those around me, because I wanted to shield my pain from them and their pain from me. And I wanted to dissolve and sort of disappear. So I started constructing this wall. And luckily, my wife pointed out that I was doing the very thing that I had talked about previously, when I had to be her care provider, and I was told she wasn't going to live anymore. And I had built this emotional wall between me and her. And I had gone to the library, because there were no computers at that particular time, after I was told she wasn't going to live, and I knew everything there was about her disease. And I had all this knowledge, but I didn't have any wisdom. And what the wisdom I needed was that she needed a connection to me as she was facing this life-threatening illness. And I needed to be there with her. And she didn't need me to know all about what was going on with her physically. She needed me to know all about what's going on with her emotionally and spiritually. And so I learned through a lot of work how to deal with that as a husband, because I got very angry that I couldn't fix it for her. And I started building this wall, because I'm thinking, holy smoke, she's going to die and leave me with 3 kids. And I haven't been, and I started thinking about myself. And then I'm thinking, holy smokes, I'm thinking about myself and she's the one dying. How freaking selfish can I be? And, I was conflicted, and I luckily had a friend who's a therapist, and I went and talked to him and told him I shared my heart and said, this is what's going on. And he said, hey, believe it or not, you're kind of going through what most people experience when they're told something about this. So with his help, I learned how to deal with this and help my wife through this trauma, which she did survive much. And it was a miracle, believe me, that she survived this. And so, we learned about connections again, and then here I go, 20 years later, and suddenly I'm building a wall as the person now who needs the care, separating myself from those who want to reach out to me, because I was afraid of rejection or whatever. And I had this conception of what my family and friends were going to be like, and that they're not going to want to be part of my life anymore. And there are a couple of people probably that, would fall into that category. And even for them, I want to allow grace, because I think they feel this way because they don't really know how to deal with it.
Yeah.
Okay. But most everybody you talk about with this disease, once I could do that, says, gee, this, I've got an uncle that has this. My mother died from it. My sister's got it. I mean, it's just raging through our society. And what's happening is people being diagnosed younger and younger, earlier and earlier. And then when people look at you and they go, and in our groups through Dementia Alliance International and through the Alzheimer's Association, the running joke is you'll tell somebody, I have dementia or Alzheimer's or Lewy body or Parkinson's, brain problems, or whatever. And inevitably, they'll look at you and go, well, you don't look like you got Alzheimer's or dementia. And you're thinking, well, of course, because this is an invisible set of bars that I'm behind.
Yeah.
It's an invisible set of bars. And, I was lucky that I have so far that I've kept my language skills, but my executive function is down to approaching 0. I can't really hardly do math anymore. And I was in the job where there's tons of math and stuff, and I have a problem. I got to play poker. I got invited to a poker game the other day. It's a little penny nickel dime poker game, and I couldn't figure out how to stack the chips at the end to figure out how much money I had. I look at it and I'm moving around. And I mean, one my nose says, "If you don't mind, I'll do that for you." I said, "Thank you very much." So I can still play cards, But I did forget a couple of times when we were playing low ball and I had, three kings and I'm betting like an idiot and, we're in the middle of a low ball game. So I need, it's not easy, but I'm still trying, and what else can you do? And these people are very gracious with me and they understand that I might, forget to put in the ante or I'm playing the wrong game, but I'm still having fun. So who cares?
How do you keep that sense of humor going and that wonderful smile? How do you do it?
Yeah, I through my faith. I have certainty where I'm going, so I don't worry about it. How's that?
There's a reason why, like I said before, people by the name of Wally are just wonderful people, and you've just proven that for fact. Taylor, I want to ask you, though, how does this music aspect come into play with this? If you can talk about that part of this, please, because what a wonderful way of putting out this important message to the world.
For sure. So part of the coalition, we were thinking, how do we get the message out there? And what better way to do that than music? So we collaborated with Grammy Award winner Simon Law, and he really helped us put together a song that encapsulated exactly what we wanted to say. So the coalition is actually a group of over 600 members from 27 different countries. And we meet every so often over Zoom, and we had these songwriting sessions over Zoom. So we had these prompt questions and people went into breakout rooms and came back with these beautiful, beautiful ideas about what it's like living with dementia, what people want the world to know about dementia. And Simon helped us really compile it into lyrics and put the music to it. And we were able to do a music video as well, where coalition members sent in pictures and videos of living well with dementia.
Okay, so let's make this part official, Taylor. What is the name of the song? And even though you've kind of explained it already, we're going to go back again. What exactly is that song lyrically about?
Okay, so the name of the song is Let's Reimagine. And lyrically, there's different parts of it, so I have to go through it in my mind. Wally, I have your voice in my head because you're singing the first verse. I would say this song is about being together as a community, welcoming people living with dementia and vice versa, and sharing in the experience and challenging stigma. And it's all about what people living with dementia can do and what they have to offer. And as we can see talking with Wally, people have so much to offer.
Absolutely. Wally, what does this song mean for you?
Well, it starts off talking about trees in the forest, and trees, they kind of like redwood trees stuff. They all kind of support each other, and they're all in different stages. Some of them fall down, and they provide nourishment for the trees that grow. Some of them are young, some of them are old, some of them are beautiful, some of them are crooked. Because this is why I live in the redwoods, and but it's that kind of painting of all these different trees and ferns and everything. Everything's different, but together it makes this beautiful thing. And I think that's the thing with our voices and with our music, is that we come together and there's a human connection, despite what some people would like you to think, amongst all of us, regardless of age or disability or any of these other things. Is that there's a humanness in all of us if we look for it. And I think that's what they're trying to do with this song.
Well, what was it like for you to add your vocals into this?
Well, I don't know. I couldn't figure out the internet, so I was lucky to drive over to a friend's house that lives in Reno who's got some music, and I just sat down in a chair and did it kind of a cappella and thought, well, nice. There you go. And then next thing I know, I'm on the front of the video thinking, gee, I thought they could do better than this, but I guess not. So there I am. And after hearing myself, which I'd never really heard before, I actually went down and signed up for singing class at Virginia College, see if I could do a better job. But, it came out okay. And I mean, my part of the voice, and it's just wonderful. It's just wonderful to participate. you got to kind of bury your ego a little bit, just get out there and go for it, and then it's fun.
You know what? I don't even think there's a you ego. No, let me just put it that way. It's so. Here's the thing, and I have to say this to you, Wally. With all the craziness that I've been seeing for the last 3 years on the news and social media, and even when I step out the door, you are absolutely one of the most freshest spirits that I have had the honor to meet during this time. It's people like you that give me hope for the future. And even before we wrap this interview up, I just want to say thank you for being the person that you are during this time, because and excuse my language, when I hear people bitching about stuff and I hear what you say and who you are, they ain't got jack to say anything about. Thank you for being the person that you are, my friend.
Oh, shucks, but thanks.
Taylor, as we're wrapping this up, how do we get involved? How do we, is it proceeds? Is the song going to be with proceeds or anything like that? Can we donate? Can we learn more? Because every day people are hearing the same words that Wally has had to hear also.
Yes. So we have a website up, Reimagining Dementia. I wonder if there's a way I can send you the link, but there's a donation page. There's a way there that you can see the video. It's on YouTube. And so we encourage people to share the song as much as they can. If people want to join us and be part of the coalition, you can go onto the website and sign up. And it's really just about joining us and getting the word out there and sharing the song and being with us in this.
Well, don't worry. It will be part of what I write up on this, so folks will get a chance to be able to click on this. Wally, I'm going to give you the last words. As I just mentioned, every day somebody is hearing this. What would you like to say to anybody who will eventually be dealing with this? And also, what would you like to say to the families and friends who will be surrounding this also?
Well, that's a lot.
You have all the time in the world, my friend.
Well, despite what we think, we're all mortal, and we all go through life thinking, I think in our heart somewhere, that death might escape me somehow, and it's not gonna. It's going to be one thing, or it's going to be something else, and it's going to be today, or it's going to be in 30 years. You just don't know. And there's a quote I like, and it goes kind of like this. It goes, "The acorn has no knowledge of the oak tree." I went screaming and fighting and fussing from my mother's womb into the world. And I do not want to go screaming, fighting, and fussing from this world into the next. Life's too short. You need to savor every minute you got. And you know what? We're all going to step into the great beyond, and we're all going to find out whether we were right or wrong about what we thought, right? So all you can control is your own emotions. You have no control over, the COVID or people's crappy attitudes or things like that. You can only control your own emotions. That's all you got. And so you need to learn to rein those things in. And when you want to complain about stuff, go down to UCSF and walk through the cancer ward where I was walking through here a while back, and look at those little kids and look at their parents, and then remind yourself about what you were complaining about. Get some perspective. We live a great life. People complain and they got television sets and phones and stuff. Really what we need to do is throw that stuff out, quit watching the news, play some games with our family, go for a walk, find a sense of awe, and reconnect to the music of nature and all the things that we're provided and need to do every day, instead of staring off into space and watch somebody else do it. We need to get out and go do it as best we can. And that's my advice to everybody. And that's just where I'm at.
You're a great person, Wally. Wally, Taylor, thank you so much for this interview. And let's keep in touch, because, like I said, this platform is for you guys and for everybody out there. Thank you again for the interview. Thank you for the music. Thank you for the discussion. Everybody be safe. Thank you so much.